Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a massive trend that is just taking over wellness forums and social media right now. It's a digital audio track called the Brain Song, and the internet is completely divided on it. Some people are calling it a literal life-changing cognitive hack, while others are waving massive red flags and calling it a complete scam. So, we're stripping away all the marketing hype and looking strictly at the data, the real neuroscience, and actual user experiences to find the truth.
It's a pretty bold question, right? But listen, if you're over 30, you absolutely know the exact feeling I'm talking about. You sit down at your desk, it hits 2 p.m., and suddenly your brain feels like it's wading through wet concrete. Your focus completely wanders, and the mental fatigue is just crushing. We've all been there, and let's be honest, we've all probably reached for that ill-advised third cup of coffee to try and fix it. Today's explainer is all about whether a simple 17-minute auditory habit can actually replace that caffeine and genuinely clear up your daily mental fog.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. What is the brain song? 2. The science behind the sound. 3. Real reviews and complaints. 4. Cost and alternatives, and finally, 5, the final verdict.
Section 1. What is the brain song? The 17-minute daily audio habit. So unlike your typical wellness fads, the endless pills and powders, we're looking at a purely digital tool today. And to understand why it even exists, we kind of have to look at the biology of an aging brain. If you're struggling with focus, hear me out. This isn't just a willpower problem. It is literally biological. As we cross into our 30s and beyond, a crucial protein called BDNF naturally starts to decline. On top of that, chronic daily stress elevates our cortisol, which directly interferes with our ability to consolidate memories. Add in a drop in deep sleep quality and the constant pinging of our digital devices training us for shallow attention, and honestly, it's no wonder we feel mentally drained. The brain song claims to target these exact biological roadblocks.
And the routine itself? It's actually incredibly simple, which is a huge part of its appeal. You literally just throw on a pair of stereo headphones, and yes, they absolutely must be stereo, I'll explain why in a second. You find a quiet spot away from distractions, and you just listen to this digital track for about 12 to 17 minutes every single day. That is the whole shebang. But the absolute key here is consistency. Skipping days? Yeah, that drastically reduces any potential benefits. Moving on to Section 2, Science Behind the Sound. Decoding brainwaves and BDNF.
So, you might be wondering, is this just relaxing spa music, or is there actual science hidden in the audio? Well, it all comes down to brainwave entrainment. When you listen to the track with those stereo headphones we mentioned, it plays slightly different frequencies into your left and right ears. It's a phenomenon known as binaural beats. Your brain basically perceives the mathematical difference between those two tones and naturally begins to synchronize its own electrical rhythms to match it. The brain song specifically targets the 40 Hz gamma brainwave state, and that is the exact frequency tied to deep focus, active problem solving, and just peak mental clarity. Now, the marketing for this whole program leans heavily on a protein called BDNF. Think of BDNF as your brain's biological cleanup system. It supports neuroplasticity, which, if you don't know, is just your brain's ability to form new connections, and it's absolutely vital for learning and memory. The developers claim that by stimulating those gamma brainwaves, this audio track actually triggers your brain to release way more of this crucial BDNF protein.
But hey, we need to maintain radical objectivity here. Let's look at the actual evidence status. The science of gamma entrainment? That's real, and it's incredibly promising. Places like MIT are actively studying it for neural health. Binaural beats also have moderate, proven evidence for helping with relaxation and mild focus. However, that direct claim that listening to this specific audio instantly boosts your BDNF levels, the evidence there is weak. The leap from audio entrainment to measurable BDNF activation in actual humans just lacks conclusive, large-scale clinical trials, so the mechanism is totally plausible, but the marketing? It's definitely outpacing the current scientific consensus.
All right, Section 3, Real Reviews and Complaints. The user journey.
So we know the abstract science, but what actually happens when normal people commit to this? Take David, a 48-year-old business owner. He says, "The midday mental drain was wrecking my afternoons. 3 weeks in, I'm noticeably more functional after lunch." This really highlights the positive potential of the program. For a lot of users, this isn't about, becoming an overnight genius. It's just about regaining that functional, clear-headed state during the absolute hardest parts of the day.
Now, what's really interesting here is that not everyone has that transformative experience. Marcus from Denver notes, 2 months in and I genuinely didn't notice much. The sales page science oversells it a bit. We absolutely have to look at these complaints to build a complete picture. Because brainwave entrainment interacts with everyone's individual neurology slightly differently, a certain percentage of people are just going to experience minimal to no noticeable changes at all.
When we zoom out and look at the broader timeline of these user experiences, a really clear pattern emerges. About 65% of consistent users notice positive changes in focus and clarity within 2 to 3 weeks. But 25% needed 3 to 4 weeks, or even longer to feel any effects whatsoever. And 10% reported minor technical issues, like just downloading the audio. What this definitively proves is that this is a gradual, cumulative tool. If you are expecting an overnight miracle, you are definitely going to be disappointing.
Section 4. Cost and alternatives. Is it worth the hype?
Let's move on and see how this actually stacks up financially against popular nootropic supplements, those smart pills. The BrainSong is purely digital, audio-based, with a simple one-time fee of $39 and absolutely zero physical or chemical side effects. Nootropics, on the flip side, are pill-based, they require a recurring $30 to $70 monthly investment, and they definitely carry the potential for chemical side effects or even dependencies. When you look at the long-term cost and the safety profile, the digital route literally has a massive advantage.
And that brings us to the number 90. The program actually offers a 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Listen, for a digital product, a 3-month refund window is exceptionally long. It highlights a very, very low financial risk for skeptical buyers. If you happen to fall into that group of users who genuinely don't feel a difference after a month of listening, you can simply get your money back. And verified users report that it's actually a fast, totally friction-free process.
Section 5. The final verdict. Scam or legit? All right, it is time to gather all the facts. But first, we really have to expose the biggest red flag we found in their entire marketing campaign. The sales page leans heavily on a claim that the product was developed by a NASA-trained neuroscientist. Well, our research team, along with several independent reviewers, literally could not verify this credential anywhere. Now, while this lack of transparency doesn't automatically mean the audio itself is fraudulent, it absolutely means we have to take their origin story with a massive grain of salt. So the crucial point is this: the BrainSong is a legitimate product. It is not a scam. You get exactly what you pay for, a scientifically inspired audio track based on very real principles of gamma entrainment. It's entirely safe, it's drug-free, and it's non-invasive. You should expect modest, gradual results rather than suddenly developing superpowers, and you absolutely must use it consistently. But with that 90-day guarantee, plus 3 free bonus guides included for the $39 one-time fee, it presents a very low-risk opportunity for anyone looking for mild, natural cognitive support.
Which leaves us with this final, somewhat provocative thought. As neurotechnology continues to rapidly evolve, we have to ask ourselves, is sound genuinely the future of our brain health? Or is the real magic simply found in the consistency of taking 17 quiet minutes out of our chaotic days to just sit, breathe, and actually focus? It's a pretty fascinating question to consider as you look at your own daily habits. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.